has been a very interesting year for movies in theaters, with many films doing limited business, making producers think several times before officially announcing that they're going to commence a theatrical run. There have only been a few films that have motivated audiences to storm into cinemas. I've been fortunate enough to be in cities that have opened up for screenings in theaters, but only a few have really developed that iconic grand theater experience. I can only think of Vijay's master in the Telugu comedy Jati Ratnalu, in which I saw packed halls where there was constant whistling and cheering. The second wave really hit us hard, and the return of films has been really lackluster until this weekend, where I was motivated because of some Telugu film fans who messaged me on Instagram at JammyPants4, by the way, and told me to watch the Sekhar Kamulla directed film Love Story starring Naga Chaitanya and Sai Pallavi. Not only did I step into a theatre that was packed with Telugu cinema fans, but the film created an atmosphere that made me quite emotional, as it provided that sense of communal viewing that has been missing from our lives for so long. The audience hooting, cheering, and emotionally reacting to sequences. It brought me flashbacks to the way things were in our love for films. Sekhar Kamulla films have a unique but simplistic texture that has a huge fan base. And the one thing that I did immediately after watching this film was watch the 2017 film Fida to provide me an idea of this fandom, and from his sensitivity on how to portray relationships, the progressive manner in which he writes women, and finally the quality of originality, clearly showcasing how he's not influenced from Western cinema, justifies the aura that surrounds the man. Let me also know in the comments below why you love the man's filmography so much. Love Story focuses on a Zumba instructor, Revant, who wants to make a name for himself in a world where he and his family are constantly reminded of their worth in the world. He stumbles upon Monica, played by Sai Pallavi, who is seeking for a job in the city as she wants to stay as far away from the toxic environment in her home. How the romance blossoms between the two characters, eventually uncovering several hurdles and issues that they will have to face, forms the crux of Love Story. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch it in select theaters or not. The underwhelming aspects. Jarring green screen and editing. There have been a lot of production hassles during the shooting of this film, which makes me believe that they have had to improvise on how to shoot certain sequences. Through many of the parts, especially when characters get together to have chai, it becomes abundantly obvious that they're sitting in front of a green screen. The digital background is so poorly rendered that it actually reminds you of the vintage era in which people in films drove cars, but you knew it's a static shot and just a loop of the city playing in the background. The editing of the film also is such that it moves on to the next scene throughout the film rather abruptly, especially in the second half. It's as if all the characters and the world building made the creators anxious of the running time extending and having to re-engineer and package how the second half should be. Scenes abruptly cut, songs are placed out of nowhere that stop in the middle for some random scene, going on to continue the songs, change locations and move on to the next thing as if Panvel ki train nikalne wali hai. Haphazard and hurried climax. An extension of what I've already said about the editing of the film is especially jarring with the way the creators decide to conclude the film. The last 15 to 20 minutes of the movie will actually make you wonder whether you're in a fever dream or not. Scenes are of a few seconds, locations are jumped within moments, you blink an eye and a timeline shifts, an action sequence commences and ends within moments. There is absolutely no time for a breather. I actually envisioned the editor being Hugh Jackman from Swordfish, being instructed in a limited time frame to finish the edit like a college student who is late in his submission. The conclusion of the film will actually make you think, what were those last 15 minutes? Because honestly, you wouldn't have minded if the film extended for another 20 minutes and really let those sequences sit and play out properly. The good. Songs and choreography. One of the biggest highlights, hands down, has to be the songs composed by Pawan, making his debut as a film composer, and the choreography by Sekhar. I did not have an idea of how good Sai Pallavi as a dancer is, other than the rehearsal sequence in Premam where she absolutely kills it, and Rowdy Baby of course. After watching Fida and her performance in the song Bachinde, it becomes clear to me that she has been slaying the dance floor for quite some time. The effortless quality with which she performs on the song Saranga Darya has to be the highlight. The cinema literally erupted the moment she came on screen. I have to say that I slowly warmed up to Naga Chaitanya as the Zumba instructor as well. What may have started as a bit stiff and heavy on his feet, he really matched up to the energy of Sai as they danced together on the rooftop as it rained. While from an editing perspective the film may place some songs rather abruptly, they do really enhance the storytelling of this film. Performances. The supporting cast of the movie really do lend a great quality to this film despite the commercial pitch at which it is presented. Ishwari Rao as Revant's mother puts forth a really heartfelt performance. Both the characters only have themselves in the world and look out for one another. They share some hilarious sequences as well, being an extension of the trope of an annoyed and helplessly loyal mother who will support her son no matter how catastrophic his decisions. Rajiv Kanakala, who could have easily come across as gimmicky and over the top, provides the much needed restraint for a character that is a constant annoyance in people's lives. There is also an old woman in the film that creates a hilarious dynamic between Revant and his mother, constantly shouting and having no sense of a social etiquette. But the theatre burst out laughing each time she came on the screen. Devyani as Monika's mother, also in her brief appearance, creates a beautiful impression, especially in the latter half of the film, breaking down as she is made aware of the horrible circumstances of the family. Main leads. This film solely rides on two things. One is Sekhar Kamulla's texture of films and the believability of both the leads. It is essential for a love story like this for the two romantic interests to be absolutely convincing in their paths. Naga Chaitanya is an extremely self-aware man who has openly confessed to his limitations as an actor and has been vulnerable about the same. There is a reason why people are resonating with his performance in Majli and are considering Love Story to be his career's best. Motivated by bringing a sense of realism to his character, Chaitanya honestly shines in this role. Whether it be the moments where he is vulnerable with Monika talking about his dreams in an empty Zumba studio, or simply breaking down as Monika kisses him on the cheek publicly, there is a sensitive and convincing quality that Chaitanya brings which has also surprised Telugu film fans. There is a Telangana dialect utilized by the actors, and from the chatter that I hear on Twitter and on online forums is that Chaitanya has actually come very close to that as well. It tells you a lot about the growth that he has had as an actor. Sai Pallavi is honestly a national heartthrob at this point. All I see online are fan accounts of this individual, and as I jumped on the simp train as well while watching this film, it really is such a pleasure to see this actor shine on screen. Monika on paper can easily come across as privileged and annoying, but Sai's performance really makes your heart warm and empathize with the character, eventually, that you can't help yourself but wish for a union between both the characters. Social themes. It is after a very long time that I have seen a commercial Indian film where my red flags haven't shot up with respect to the courting process in the relationship of the two main leads. The film does not have unnecessary comedic gags that are often crass in these similar commercial films. The development of the relationship is organic and extremely convincing, and Sekhar Kamulla through this story sheds light on several societal problems both on caste and class extremely well. This film could have easily aped what was already done by Sekhar, but it refreshingly takes another direction that makes love stories stand out. In the process also speaking about something that commercial films don't have the courage to uncover. Of course, the film is not perfect in any way, but the emotion and atmosphere the love story created overrides my analytical process of dissecting and bashing a film for the sake of it. It also made me realize that Telugu and Tamil film fans are a different sauce altogether, who really have a fandom celebrating films and people involved in it like no other state. This one has really brought back the cinema experience. And that was a video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about the movie. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.